What's going on, folks? Thought I'd do a little video for anybody that's having a lot of battery issues on a big motorcycle. I'm talking like 1,000 cc and up. So most vehicles that are 90 to 150 cubic inches, this is what happens. Is that you get it's called a compression lock. Most of these bikes have an automatic compression lock. I know some Harleys you manually have to do it, but for guys that are running rice burners like Volusias, Boulevards, and MC50s and the C90s and stuff, there's something on there called a servo. Now the servo is a little mechanism that turns, right? When you go to ignite it, so you turn on your ignition before you hit your start button, you'll hear a right? So most people don't know that it's happening. They think it's either a fuel pump or something that's happening pre-ignition. Now, if you're going through multiple batteries and you wake up the next day, you think your battery's dead and all that, it's not usually what the problem is. Even though you're going to take it to the shop and they're going to screw you for $300 or $400 or $500, $1,000, tell you it's a starter, tell you it's this, tell you it's that. It's a real simple fix. And I've owned many bikes in my lifetime, most of them race rockets, and then I started riding cruisers as I started getting older. And then I bought I call it the Harley Eater. Is a C90 Suzuki Boulevard 1500, shaft drive, fuel injection, beautiful bike, walks all over a Harley, like I said, shaft drive, no sliding belt, slipping belt. But the second day I had it, the thing wouldn't start. I'm like, what the hell, right? And I'm a mechanic by trade, a heavy-duty mechanic, not a bike mechanic, but still very mechanically inclined. And I go to start it up, put the key in, turn it on. I turn on the pre-ignition. I hit the start button. Tick, tick, like a hard tick. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Dead battery. Because on a rice burner, like a Ninja 1100 or whatever, it's that tick sound is usually dead battery, or maybe something's short in the ground, or one of the battery posts is not tight enough, so it's not grounding good enough or making a good connection. So I take the battery out after about 15 attempts, right? I go get a new battery, because I'm not going to screw around. Threw a new battery in, click, 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 click. I'm like, what the you right? So I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked, went through all the wiring harness, even did a couple connections, went for a third battery. That third battery, click, click, click. And then I'm at a friend's house, and I see him. He's got a Harley. He's got like a 1650. Reaches down, decompresses the cylinder. Right? I said, Jesus, that's what it is. That little battery, after about 4 attempts to turn that big engine over, is a high amperage draw with that starter. It's automatically killing the battery like this, and of course it's not going to start because you got 2 huge cylinders or 4 big cylinders, and it's locked. So I went and got my 4th battery, stuck it in, went and looked underneath. I see the servo, and the Boulevard that I had on that servo has 2 cables that go to decompression units for the front and the back cylinder. So anyway, to make a long story short, I reach underneath, I physically hit that decompression valve, and you got to press hard, and it goes tss, and I did the back one. Tss. So what happened in my head when I'm looking is those cables got out of sync a little bit. They got a little bit loose. So when the servo was actuating, it wasn't lifting the valve up to release the lock off the cylinder. So when I manually did it, bang, started. Did it again, lifted it, bang, started. Took another battery out that was presumed dead, even though it was low, put it in, bang, started. I'm like, you bastard. After all that work, I was going to sell that. It was so bad, after me tracing the electrical and I couldn't find anything, I said, I'm putting this for sale. This is junk. And the bike was beautiful. So anyway, if you're having a click, click, click problem on any Suzuki product with a big engine, go down and look at the compression release. Like I said, it's going to take that intake valve or that exhaust valve and lift it, and release the compression out of that chamber, right out of that cylinder. And I can guarantee you 99.9% that is the issue. So do not sell your bike. I went through probably 300 videos trying to figure out what was wrong with this thing, and you guys are all wrong. Because what would happen, it would sit for a day or two between changing the battery, changing out a solenoid, changing out a relay. So what would happen is that within that day or two that the bike's sitting there, it would decompress itself, right? Because it's not airtight, but it's airtight, right? So anyway, to make a long story short, that is the issue. You got either a lazy servo cables are out of sync, or the rods are need to be adjusted. So you're gonna thank me when you watch this video, and I'm gonna label it. Do you think you have a dead battery on a big Suzuki motorcycle? And that's going to be the problem. I can guarantee it 99.9%, because everybody else is steering you in the wrong direction. So anyway, if you need other help on other things on your motorcycle, let me know. A second set of eyes is always good. Eric at darrowauto.ca. Please like the video.